Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week of After Dark. My name is Aaron Knoll. I am your host for this evening, and we are back once again to discuss all the latest in the world of movie news, movies, and anything that relates to those things that you're supposed to see in a theater, but you probably saw on Netflix or HBO Max. We have a cool panel with us tonight, some returning favorites, obviously, and a new debutant to the show, which is fun. I'll go ahead and introduce everybody. Making a return, both halves of this dynamic duo are back. We have Nikki and Devin.
Hi.
Well, there we go. That's the energy I expect. There we go. Also joining us, we have the man who runs the channel, Mr. Matt Beer.
How's it going, guys? Currently in a crazy bet. Never had a bet like this before. Potentially could be taking in about $15,000 tonight. So, go Bucks. And Giannis need to score. He needs to score about 35 points.
Are you betting on the winner? Or are you betting on somebody scoring?
Both.
Okay.
Same game parlay. Somebody got a notification. Or it's a video. I don't know.
And moving on, joining us for the first time on this show, he's been a guest multiple times on the other show that I host, Schmo Talks, and he's joining us here in After Dark for the first time, Mr. Andy Sweet. Andy, how's it going, man?
Hello, that was me. That was my ESPN app. I figured I would make a good entrance, so sorry about that.
Cool. ESPN.
I'm sure Nicky appreciates it. Usually, when he's in a better condition, he's got a soundboard with him to play all sorts of weird shit. So that's that's the best we'll get. Just hitting our phones up next to our
I was like a cable away from having that ready tonight.
Just like fuck that last cable, not worth it.
Like, no, literally, like it's here and like it's there and the soundboard's there. It's just the connections would need to be made, bro. If only there's somebody here who could do it with big arms.
As he sits there with his sleeves pulled up, like.
Devin showing the guns. Uh-oh.
Devin, I think this might be your Tinder. You sit there literally in a worse lit corner than Nikki. Dark, mysterious, silent, and now you're showing off the muscles. We might get you a girl, bro.
Just make a Tinder account, use this exact image as the only one, and have them guess which one of us is the person.
I couldn't help myself. Everybody go back and pretend I didn't say anything about it. All right? Just about your arms. About what? Exactly. About what?
I would have said it.
About what? That's what Matt's been staring at this whole time.
Yes,
he's not watching the game. He's just watching you. All right. So, guys, we are here tonight. We have a couple of fun topics to discuss that we will go ahead and get into. Before we go and get to the title one, we're going to talk about, well, technically it's in the title. Netflix going crazy, man. Not that they haven't been for the last God knows how many years, but Netflix is going crazy, picking up all sorts of stuff. We have a few stories related to that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to prep the videos, so instead I will read this live. There's no point in zooming in. You guys can just see what muted reactions there are to these stories. But here we go. So, over the last few weeks, Knives Out 2 has continued to grow its cast. Actresses Madeline Klein and Jessica Henwick have been added to the giant ensemble that is led by Daniel Craig, Dave Bautista, and Edward Norton. Klein is known for her TV work on Netflix shows like Outer Banks and Stranger Things, as well as on shows like HBO's Vice Principals and The Originals. Henwick, meanwhile, has slowly been building up a blockbuster filmography after smaller parts in blockbusters like Star Wars The Force Awakens and more recently Love and Monsters. Henwick will be the co-lead in the upcoming fourth Matrix film, along with appearing in this film. As well as with all the other cast, nothing is known about their specific roles, except that they will be shooting them very soon in Greece as the film ramps up to begin filming at the beginning of July. This week, Deadline reported that Jennifer Lopez has signed on to star and produce Netflix's new sci-fi thriller, Atlas. She will work alongside Rampage director Brad Peyton off of a script from Lock and Key writer Aaron Eli Collette. Atlas will focus on Jennifer Lopez, who plays a woman tasked with saving humanity from an AI soldier gone rogue. The soldier was created in order to eliminate war, but begins to believe that the cure to end war is to end humanity. This is the third film that Netflix recently announced with Lopez after signing a production deal between themselves and her production company, Nuyorican Productions, with the previous two announced being The Mother, a thriller directed by Mulan's Nikki Caro, and The Cipher, an adaptation of a murder thriller book. No dates have been set for any of these films. Variety reported this week that Netflix is moving forward with a series adaptation of the video game Assassin's Creed. They also have some big-name talent behind it, with writer Jeb Stewart joining as showrunner and lead writer. Stewart is not a commonly known name, but you will know some of the projects he's written, including classics like Die Hard and The Fugitive. All we know as of now is that it will have zero connection to the Michael Fassbender flop, but it is unknown if the show will showcase some of the game's famous assassins like Altair Ibn Lahad or Ezio Auditore de Firenze, or start fresh with a new face like the movie tried to. No release date has been set. And finally, for this set of stories, a few years ago, a small film that starred both Amel Cousins, Code 8, received a small, unsuccessful theatrical release before hitting Netflix to stream. On Netflix, the film blew up in 2020, being one of the most watched films on the service, and now they have purchased the rights to the upcoming sequel, Code 8 Part 2. The movie follows. The original film is set in a world where a sect of the population are born with superpowers, but they must be government registered and are often face abuse for having these powers. Robbie Amell starred as Connor Reed, an electrokinetic who is caring for his mother, who is a cryokinetic who suffers from brain cancer. Stephen Amell played Garrett Kent, a telekinetic who works for a crime syndicate that's pumping out a drug made from the spinal fluid of superpowered humans. The sequel will follow a new character, a superpowered girl, who seeks out the help of Connor and Garrett after her father is murdered by corrupt police who are banding together to try and eliminate the superpowered humans. The film will premiere on Netflix at an unknown date in 2022. All right, so there we go. Those are the first set of stories that relate to Netflix. Andy, I'll jump to you first. Out of some of those projects that have been announced, whether it's the Knives Out castings or any of the new projects, what stands out to you the most?
I mean, I think that Assassin's Creed story, seeing how Netflix kind of handled The Witcher, which was another property, kind of that video game they turned into a really well told out story, although confusing at times. So I think if done right, they could probably handle Assassin's Creed better than they did in that really, really terrible movie.
God, I hope so. It can't get much worse than that film.
I was so excited for that.
And that movie, like, I don't know what everyone else here thinks of it, but, like, that film to me was more disappointing than anything, because I actually think they had the right idea. Like, I've been saying for the longest time that I don't think video game films or shows should directly adapt the games. I think they should take the concept from the games and maybe some characters from the games and kind of create their own story that fits a cinematic premise more than it does a game premise, because inherently game stories are written to have long sections where nothing happened in order to let you play.
You got to do for Old Republic. Well, like, people talk about Old Republic, that's exactly what they would have to do for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And, like, I think Old Republic, I haven't played the game just because it was before I started playing games. I honestly need to get a copy of it because I've wanted to for the longest time.
I can get you that.
I believe you could, honestly. So I like everything I've heard about it. I think that's exactly what it's right for, right? It's you just have to you can use the same characters, but you have to take something and elements from it and make it its own thing. And I loved what they did with Assassin's Creed. I like that they took the concept of the Abstergo Corporation is using the ancestry of modern humans to try and gain information from the past that could help them with whatever, world domination or whatever their plan is. And they brought in characters from the game. Jeremy Irons is a character from the game. Michael K. Williams played a character that was a supporting like NPC in one of the games. So they brought elements in, and I like that they went to an era that the games hadn't explored in the Spanish Inquisition. They had all the right pieces. They just fucked up the actual film. I don't know how.
That ending really fucked it up.
Dude, I remember thinking that this could be the movie that turned it around. And then I saw the trailer, and the moment that fucking Kanye song starts playing, I'm like, oh, God, they don't know what they're doing anymore, do they?
Kanye doesn't code confidence for you anymore.
Song in it?
Well, in the trailer.
Kanye is a great confidence builder. What I don't need is fucking post-2010 Kanye. Like an Assassin's Creed trailer with, beautiful. I am a god. even though I'm a man of God, y'all better quit. Like, I don't need Kanye's ego
Whoa,
over my
Kanye
Assassin's
now.
Creed soundtrack.
Which the big ego.
Which
You know,
8 years later, that song's incredibly ironic considering where his career went. But
I've never seen the movie, but
You-
now after you mentioned that song's in the movie, I'm gonna see it.
I don't think it's in the movie. I think it was just in the trailer. I don't remember it
Oh,
being
well,
in
fuck
the
the
movie.
movie then.
You can watch the trailer, though. It's way shorter.
Yeah.
True. I could watch a trailer.
The trailer was better than the whole movie, really.
I'm gonna do
Probably.
that.
They
Honestly,
give you all the good. They give you all the good action pieces, and that's really all
He
you need.
jumped.
Everything
Like,
else was
oh,
shit.
look, Michael Fassbender. He jumped.
Yeah.
yeah, that was basically the trailer. Oh my God, Michael Fassbender. Oh my
Jump.
God. But yeah, so like, I think if, especially because I've seen bits and pieces of the Witcher show. I haven't had a chance to watch it all the way through, but my dad's watched it more than once, and he's not even a fan of the games. He just really enjoyed the show.
Honestly, my honest opinion is
Go for it.
I didn't like it. I was bored. Devin, you watched it. What did you think?
He's got a lot to say.
Meh.
I think that actually says it all. That really does say it all. The fact that he has nothing to say. But I think, and I honestly, and I want to look up the other films he's done because those were just the two first ones I saw, so I pulled them. But the writer of Die Hard and The Fugitive, I mean, that's not a bad choice to help write your show if that's what we're shooting for.
Yeah.
I love Cavill, and I really wanted to like it because I do love Cavill. I mean, he built a computer, and he was cool.
And I've heard he's your nerd god now. Is that correct?
Cavill is a nerd god. Yeah.
I believe it.
But yeah, he. So it's just I was disappointed, just because he is a god symbol. I mean, Cal, the savior figure. So I'm just yeah.
He jumped.
But we
Are
did
you
get
watching the trailer?
I am.
God
I
damn
think
it.
he
That's
does
pretty
jump
good.
into a barrel roll.
I am a god.
what
What were you
was he?
saying, Nikki?
Jessica Hedwick
There you
for the
Yes, Jessica Henwick joining Knives Out. Yes.
Knives Out. Yeah, no, I love her. She was on Iron Fist. She was the Iron Fist at the end with the sword. And Defenders.
Colleen Wing.
Yeah, she was always yeah.
Oh, was she? Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
No, and she was on Game of Thrones as well. She was one of the
That
Sansa.
I believe. That
So
I
she's been on a lot of stuff. I really like her. Really hoping she has like a breakout year with that Matrix movie.
Mhm.
So looking forward to seeing that in theaters.
Yeah. I agree. No, I haven't seen. I've seen bits and pieces of Iron Fist. I just never got into any of those Netflix shows,
She
so I
was
never
the
saw
best
any of them all the way through.
Really, the best
Yeah.
part of those series.
That's what I've heard. I've
She was.
heard she is the best part of that show.
Her and Rosario. And a lot of their scenes are together.
Is Rosario and Iron Fist, or are you talking about Defenders?
Yeah, Rosario Dawson's in Iron Fist and Defenders. Yeah,
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Okay, cool.
they're both.
Oh.
Yeah, Rosario Dawson's on all of the shows.
She was their Nick Fury.
Except for like Punisher, yeah. And then one season she's just like, yeah, no, she's not coming back. And then they turned to is she? And they're just like, nah, I don't know. And then now she's Ahsoka. So yay, Star Wars. Woohoo.
Nice. So yeah, but what I saw her in was the film that I mentioned there, Love and Monster, which I don't know if anybody else has seen it. It got a really small release, and then did you
I
see
have.
it? What do you think?
You're talking about the one with Dylan O'Brien, correct?
Yes, and she was
Yeah.
his love interest in that.
Yes.
Dylan
I
O'Brien,
thought it
he's,
was really good.
Dylan O'Brien was Maze Runner, and he was Bumblebee.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
good
he's
enough
doing
to
a little thing
own
for himself.
in 4K.
Good enough to. Oh, thank you. I
Yes,
thought that was one
really
of the
good.
surprise gems of last year. Like, for what it was, I thought it would be like mediocre as hell, and I was surprised by how entertaining it is. Like, if people enjoy, like, because kaiju's not the right word, but if you enjoy just looking at interesting creatures, I think it really is a good film to watch because it's got such interesting creature design. And it was done for less than 100 million, and you wouldn't believe it with how good it looks. Like they made the most of what they had.
I think he's gonna be DiCaprio level famous.
You think?
Really? He
Yeah.
really hasn't done a whole lot lately. I mean,
Well,
he's Love
when you-
Monsters, but that was it.
When you fuck up your face and your shoulder and your neck, it takes a minute.
Yeah, but I mean that was.
And unfortunately,
a
it
while
wasn't for
ago.
anything all that successful.
It
Well,
makes-
he's had
I thought that was a good movie.
it makes you
good.
distinguish.
True, but I mean box
Shocker.
office wise. And I've read like
think it's
interviews
okay.
he's done, and he's talked about part of the reason he hasn't acted as much is because even after he recovered and like was able to finish filming, for a while after he suffered repercussions with like the nerves and like his face and his shoulder, and so it's made it a little more difficult for him, and he's only just starting to overcome it.
Yeah.
Like Mark Hamill, somebody like Mark Hamill with Star Wars, and then for the next 2 movies after that, you look at his better acting. His better acting were in the second 2 movies.
Yeah, and I think Dylan O'Brien is a fine actor. Like I've said it before in many places, those Maze Runner films, they are not the best of that young adult genre. Like the best Hunger Games film is probably better than the best Maze Runner film, but they're the most consistent. It's one of the few series where I go, all 3 of those films are at least solid, watchable, well acted, well directed, considering it was a rookie director. Like, it's when you put it into context, it is surprising how good they are.
I thought the first one was actually really good, especially for a young adult novel adapted movie. The second one was where I just kind of fell off, and then the third one came out. I thought the third one was really good too. There's some things that weren't the greatest in it, but that last Maze Runner movie was really good.
Yeah, and it's a shame that it didn't do well. Like it got affected because of the injury and the pushes, and it's a shame because I really think I recommend it whenever I see someone who hasn't seen it. Like I think it's legitimately a film that's worth it.
Yeah, like I agree. I think is it Catching Fire is the second Hunger Games
Yes,
movie?
like that's a better.
That one's better. Yeah, that's a better movie. That's
like,
way better than it should have been. But
I'm one of the few people that likes part 1 of the third Hunger Games film. I don't know why, but I actually really like that one. I think that's probably better than the Maze Runner films as a single film. But the 4th film's fucking terrible. The 4th film's not good. Whereas the Maze Runner never has that
longer. Yeah, you could have made one longer third movie.
Oh yeah.
The only thing the 4th film in that franchise did was it gave the world its first real good look. Maybe he was in like a show or something that I didn't see, but at least for me, it gave me the first real good look at Mahershala Ali as an actor. I think he's one of the few really good performances in that film. Because it's just so all the character is in the first half of that film, so the back half is so devoid of character that almost no one's giving a good performance because they have nothing to do. They're just there to die or run away from the thing that's killing. Like,
first thing I saw Mahershala really was Luke Cage.
Yeah, I think that came out around the same time. Actually, if I remember, it was either right around the same time or just after.
You know, he was.
That was
after.
That was 2016, I believe, or 15, one or the other.
When did Hunger Games?
2015. Hunger Games was 2015. I feel confident. So Luke Cage might have been 16.
It was 2015.
Yeah. Luke Cage was either 15 or 16, and then Moonlight was 16 when he won the Oscar.
Things. That stuff's gonna come back, I think. You know.
What is?
Rumors about Frank
It's
Castle.
not coming back.
Oh God!
It's
Please no!
not coming back.
Oh no!
The Netflix shows aren't coming back. I think they want to get rid of Iron Fist and anything to do with Iron
Any
Fist.
depiction ever?
Yeah, I do think you could maybe see 1 or 2 of the actors come back in something, but as far as the shows, no. And if the actors come back, it's like a fun little, almost like J.K. Simmons in Far From Home type of thing.
Well, wasn't Charlie Cox?
Like Matt Murdock.
Charlie Cox was caught on the Spider-Man set, right?
No.
That's the rumor.
He was never caught on it. He was rumored to be there, but no one actually has proof that he was there.
Right.
I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm not going to be surprised if he's in it as like the lawyer. But then again, that's like the J.K. Simmons thing. It's nothing
My mom
like
could
crazy.
show up in that movie, and I wouldn't be shocked at this point. Like, I don't know when she would have gotten away to film, but
I wasn't suggesting any of that. Ooh.
I'm sure.
Hey, Frank.
No, I was
Nikki, there's no multiverse stories tonight. I won't get upset. It's okay.
I don't care about the multiverse.
Yes, you do.
Loki made me not care about it.
Yes, you do care.
Ooh.
Loki's good.
That's for another week.
It's a lot better than WandaVision.
We'll get to that another week.
It's a lot better than Wanda.
Chekhov's gun. We know what's going to happen there.
But they've also set up a return to status quo.
Don't worry. Either next week or the week after, I'll give you a chance to get into those. All right?
Yeah, Loki's good. Nikki's just blinded.
Yeah. Oh, it's quality.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's Marvel. It's gonna be quality no matter what.
It's the second best Marvel show. It's not as good as Falcon and Winter Soldier.
It's the second best show on Disney Plus right now.
No.
What's the best show on Disney Plus?
Cowboy Bang.
There's nothing. Nothing worth watching anyway, other than
honestly, and at this point it's a joke. But I've liked High School Musical better than I've liked Loki.
That batch is awesome.
Well, High School Musical is like godsend.
Yeah,
so.
good.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody else here respects that show.
Yeah, that's what Aaron just said.
The world should be respected.
That's what he meant.
The High School Musical world, not this world.
That batch I haven't seen. I didn't like the Clone Wars enough to watch it week to week, so I'm just gonna binge it when it's done.
I gave up on Bad Batch.
I hope I like it more than I like the Clone Wars, but I didn't want to do it week to week.
I just kind of fell asleep.
All right, so somebody hates it.
I can't stand it. I don't care. I don't care. The show sucks.
Nikki, if you want to fight his negativity, move your mic
just a bad show. Look, and you know how big of a fan of Star Wars I am. I watch as much of Star Wars as possible, and I gave up on that show. I watched Resistance all the way through.
Well, that's your fault.
I didn't watch Bad Batch. I stopped after the 4th episode.
Okay, all right. Time out. To the corners, boys. All right.
I'm just right.
No, I'm fine. He's fair. It's fair. He can feel however.
Yeah. So I don't think anybody cares about the other part of that story. That Jennifer Lopez is making movies for Netflix. That makes sense. And what was the thing? Oh, has anybody?
Jenny from the Block.
Yeah, Jenny from the Block. We should probably get Ben Affleck in one. And you know what? If G League 2 goes to Netflix, that also makes sense.
She used to be the Red Sox Yankee games with Ben Affleck, and the Yankees won that season. And then the next year, it was Bennifer 2.0. He was with Jennifer Gardner, and the Red Sox won that season. So,
so you're saying is depending on who he dates, they will win. So the Yankees winning this year?
No, Cubs are winning it.
That just things up with Jennifer Gardner. They win the series. The Sox win the series there.
The Yankees stink this year.
So Ben Affleck, if you're watching this, just so you know, the Red Sox hopes of winning lie on you getting back in bed with Jennifer Gardner.
Ben Affleck, the best Batman.
You probably hope your kids too.
Okay, the Yankees aren't terrible this year, but they're not winning the World Series. The Cubs are.
A respectable ball club overall, though.
They're 37-33. I think they're what? No, they're third. Okay, that's not bad. They're third in the AL East.
Boston accent. This is the Sam Adams voice that they have on that commercial.
The Rays are doing better than the Yankees.
Oh, I hate the Rays. The Rays are such a pest. You never know what they're going to do.
So has anybody seen this Code 8 film? I'm asking legitimately. I've never seen it.
Who's
I
in
watched
it?
the trailer. It's in my queue, but there's like 100 things in my queue.
Who's in Code 8?
It's Stephen Amell and Robbie Amell. It's Green Arrow and Firestorm from the DC shows.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I haven't seen it then.
It's a movie about like metahuman criminal stuff.
Yeah. So have you seen it, or you just know what it is?
No, I just know what it is.
Okay.
But
so
it looks pretty good, and I like those actors. So.
It's kind of like with Andy. Like, I know it's definitely in my Netflix queue because I saw it and I was like, oh, that looks interesting. And I heard it was based on like a really acclaimed short film, so I added it because I was like, those usually turn out all right. But
it's good background noise, probably.
it blew up on Netflix last year. Like people were watching it a lot. So it makes sense that Netflix would go out and buy the sequel. Like if it did numbers for them, why not give them a platform? Because I'm sure if the first one didn't do well in theaters, and yeah, its overall box office, I just looked it up, was $150,000. So if it didn't do well in theaters, I'm sure they want it to go to Netflix. Okay, so here it is. So the film has an 80% like rating on Rotten Tomatoes with an average rating of 6.1 out of 10. So that's not bad for like a small sci-fi film. That's not bad at all. Let me see. So I'm just looking here at basics. So the Variety review said that it was a solid genre effort and is resourceful and as polished as can be on a tight budget. He said the screenplay packs in a lot of characters and complications without enough time to lend any of them a distinguishing personality. Okay, so it's a cool concept, not enough fleshing. That makes sense. Okay, and it's got Robbie Amell, Stephen Amell, and Sung Kang from the Fast and Furious series.
Okay.
Kang.
Yeah. So. So yeah, I've never heard of it. Now that there's a sequel, that gives me more of a reason to watch it.
Doesn't that always give you more like incentive to watch a movie though? Like when a sequel's coming.
I mean, I'm the type of person who will watch anything. It's just a matter of when I get to it. Knowing that there's a sequel coming would bump it up quicker. Yeah, for sure.
It's like with another story here with the Jupiter's Legacy. Like once I heard that wasn't getting like a second season, I had no reason to watch the first season. Like once I hear a show isn't getting renewed, I'm like, okay, I really
I'll
don't
watch
have
it later
to watch that. Kind of like a show. There was another thing like Constantine, like with NBC. I never felt the reason to watch like that show. It was one season, then it got canceled. Then he showed up on Legends of Tomorrow. I might actually watch that someday if I ever have absolutely nothing else to do, just because it's something else. It motivates you to watch it again. Yeah. It's like
I do like how
stuff. Like they want these movies to matter. People want validation for the things that they want that they watched before, for the time investment that they gave before.
Right. And Netflix isn't scared to do that. I mean, the fucking Kissing Booth got 2 sequels. Like that says everything, right?
I don't even know.
That is a bunch of teenage schlock that I got forced to watch because I have shitty friends.
I've seen glimpses of that movie.
It's not good. It's horribly acted. Everybody could do better. I mean, one of the guys in it was the kid from Super 8. Like I know they can do better, but like it just is not good.
There's one guy from Euphoria in it.
Yeah, Jacob Elordi's done better. Even
role.
Joey King has done better. Like, and I don't even like her all that much, but she's done better than this.
Isn't she like a Golden Globe actress nominee?
Yeah, The Act on Hulu. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
The Act. Yeah.
I saw one scene of that movie where she was acting like a complete idiot, and I just couldn't watch it. It was the voice. It was like super high pitched.
Let's just say, knowing people from my generation has mean I've seen that Netflix schlock like The Kissing Booth and fucking Too Hot to Handle and all just those bad things.
I was talking about The Act. I just saw one scene from The Act where she has like a super high voice or whatever, like higher than what she normally does.
That's the girl in real life. That's what she sounds like.
Yeah, I can't watch that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's hard.
I wanted to
that show is harsh. Like I've heard it's a tough story.
I don't want to offend anybody because I have no idea what the story is, but that voice made me want to shoot my brains out. Like I wanted to end it right there.
Well, speaking of shooting, the basic concept of that story is it's based on a real story. That girl is a victim of her mother basically drugging her and partially disabling her in order to basically keep her as like a patient, and her boyfriend end up murdering the mother.
Did I say like shoot myself in the head? I didn't knock myself out.
This is what I'm saying. You're making me sad. You know, this is where this was going.
Okay, all right.
Bad Batch got canceled.
You canceled it.
Loki has
the Bad
5
Batch
seasons.
probably won't get canceled. Loki is getting a second season. We know that.
Yeah.
Bad Batch is the most successful animated show they've ever done.
Have they?
Out of how many?
What other animated?
The Clone Wars?
Well, they did the Clone Wars.
They did Clone Wars. They did like 3 runs of Clone Wars. but I'll count it as one. They did
Every
Rebels.
one.
They did Resistance. And
Oh,
then,
you're comparing
you're
it to Star
talking
Wars.
everything in
I
general.
thought you meant Disney Plus. I was like, what other
Yeah,
animated
that's
shows have they done?
those are Star Wars ones. No.
Oh, okay. I believe that. Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. It's got a hell of an audience.
It can't be bigger than Droids.
Stride quicker than the other shows. The other shows took a few seasons to kind of get there, but it's like right there already. It's good.
I hope. So, all right. So we'll go ahead and get into the other part, which is that bit right there. And I'll read this out a little bit. So an employee from Netflix gave an interview to the Hollywood Reporter explaining the reason that Jupiter Legacy was canceled. So if you don't know what that is, Jupiter's Legacy was a Netflix show based on a comic book originally written by Mark Millar, and a show that saw its life end early when it was canceled very shortly after its original premiere this summer. Or last summer, I guess. Following this announcement, Netflix made an announcement that 2 new Millar shows, Super Crooks and The Magic Order, would be going into production and would be related to what Legacy established, which led fans to wonder, why was it canceled? The Hollywood Reporter, based off an interview given by an unnamed insider at Netflix, released a tell-all that discussed the show's downfall, and apparently it began from the very beginning. Original developer and showrunner Steven DeKnight, best known for his work on shows like Daredevil and Spartacus, wanted $12 million per episode in his budget in an attempt to make the show look and feel like theatrical counterparts of the genre. Netflix wouldn't give and eventually settled on $9 million per episode, but wouldn't budge. However, that didn't end up meaning anything, as Steven DeKnight's production went over budget, fell behind schedule, and was clashed and changed creatively from what Netflix's original creative vision was without Netflix's decision. This led to the show being shut down after 4 episodes, and Steven DeKnight was let go. He was replaced by Sang-Kyu Kim, who worked with Netflix previously on their shows Altered Carbon, as well as the 3rd season of Designated Survivor. Kim was instructed to restructure the show to match what Netflix wanted, which led to not only reshoots for the first 4 episodes, but a brand new production to finish the show's last 4 episodes. Netflix still didn't like what they saw, so in post-production, filmmaker Louis Leterrier, who is known for films like The Transporter and The Incredible Hulk, was brought in to lead an extended post-production where they used all available footage to reshape the story of the show again. And apparently after a 3rd attempt, Netflix were still not 100% happy with the show, but decided enough was enough and aired it anyways. According to the insider who reported the story, the original all-in-all budget with pre-pro production and post-production was $130 million. But after the stalling, the reshoots, and the extended post-production, they spent upwards of $200 million on the show. Following the nightmare production, Cindy Holland, Netflix's VP of original content at the time, who greenlit the show, left the company out of what was believed to be just sheer embarrassment over how the production went. Following all of this, the show, which did do well in terms of views, getting 696 million minutes of view time over its first week, received mixed critical and fan reception. This led Netflix to decide that while the universe could be built on and was worth following up, this show and its doomed production was not. Jupiter Legacy is available on Netflix for all to watch, and its follow-ups have no release date. So this show was a shit show from the get-go, apparently. And just somehow none of it ever leaked out. Like, nobody knew what was happening with this show, but it was a nightmare. I mean, budget issues, going over budget, breaking budget, going over schedule, falling behind, firing a showrunner and replacing them, then getting rid of the second guy and bringing in a 3rd guy for post. Like, yeah, no wonder this shit got canceled. Like,
Okay. So I looked it up. For one, I got to watch it for 2 reasons. One, because Steven DeKnight was involved and he created Spartacus and a bunch of other stuff. So I'll have to check it out because of that. And I like his shows. Movie, no. Shows, yes. And also Kurtwood Smith is in it. And I thought he died like 3 years ago. I thought I saw an article. I thought I saw articles where it said he passed away, and then like the woman who played Kitty on that 70s show was talking about him and stuff. I thought she died, or I thought he died like a few years ago. And I was like, okay, maybe they filmed this a long time ago. And I looked up, no, he's alive. I saw he died.
He was on a show and his character died.
It's a miracle.
No, I thought he died in real life. I swear to God, I saw an article like 2 years ago that said Kurtwood Smith passes away, and nobody debunked it. So I just was like, okay, he's dead.
Jeff
No,
Goldblum
he is.
too.
He's
He's far from
77
dead.
though. He is 77.
Yeah, just remember that somebody that's already like known as alive is alive. Like, guys, Patrick Stewart's alive.
I can't believe it. But yeah, I gotta check it out now.
I will say the show does have an impressive cast. I mean, Josh Duhamel, Leslie Bibb, Matt Lanter, who, if you're a fan of the animated Star Wars stuff, you know who he is. It's got an impressive cast. It just, man, holy shit!
I've heard
How do you fuck up a
visuals
show?
and the action were good, but I've heard the story is just kind of a jumbled.
I've been unplugged.
Mess.
Do you have any quips?
Well, knowing this, that makes sense. Because, I mean, what we have here is an 8-episode show in which the first 4 episodes were shot with one story, then slightly reshot to try and reflect the second story, and then the second 4 episodes are shot for a second story, and then the whole show was just re-edited to try and make another different plot line out of it, which is just... what the fuck? Like,
Sounds
how
like-
do you mess a show up that bad?
Were Warner Brothers or DC involved with this? That sounds like something they would do.
Nope, just Netflix.
Just Netflix.
What were you saying, Nikki? I apologize. I think I cut you off.
Sounds like what they did on Falcon and Winter Soldier. They did that a lot. Yeah.
True, but they had a reason to do that.
Yeah, it
They had a
worked.
reason to do that, and it worked out.
Just because it worked, yeah. That's what it is. It's in hindsight that it worked. It's like with the Rogue One thing. Like, nobody questions Rogue One because it worked. Like it ended up working out for most of the people involved.
Who's making that noise into the mic? Is that...
I'm saying, I know a few people who didn't like Rogue One.
That's
I'm sure
squeaky.
there are people.
Didn't
I'm sure
like
there are people who didn't like it, but
There's
I
always
didn't
hate.
like that there's a lot of scenes in the trailers that weren't in the movie and were never put out to the public years later.
You know that part I agree with, but I can't even. That's
I mean, I
a
like
film
the movie.
process thing that I think they've learned not to do since.
Yeah.
I liked the movie. I just wish they would have.
It's got to be a learn.
Well,
I
Infinity
would've-
War did it.
I would have. Well, to be fair, Infinity War did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Star Wars was legitimately like that film had a third act that was comparable to Saving Private Ryan, and then they went,
Yeah.
let's switch it up.
I was really looking forward to her like walking towards the TIE fighter. I was like, all right, here we go. I was like so
But
excited.
We got Darth Vader out of it, so who cares?
He was
Well,
always going to be
Well,
in the
Darth
movie.
Vader's supposed to be in both cuts, except the original cut. Darth Vader mowed them all down
Yeah,
on the
he
beach,
Fucking cool.
and he
The character.
killed like the heroes of the movie. Yeah,
Mhm.
instead of
That'd be
Which-
great.
Still would have been cooler, but at least we got
Yeah.
Darth Vader. I've
and
always
yeah.
maintained.
Krennic would have lived, I think, or Vader killed him.
I've always maintained that I'm cool with the changes. Like, I don't think it really affected. It would have been cool to see what the original concept was, but like, if they wanted to change it creatively, cool. I wish they'd kept the Vader stuff as originally
Yeah.
intended, because I love nothing more than the idea of you spend this whole movie building up how good and strong and willing heroes these characters are, and nothing says badass more than just bringing in Darth Vader and he is just killing them
Yeah.
like chopped meat. Like,
which is what I
that
think is
is.
happening. That's what I think is going to end up happening on the Bad Batch.
You think they're
like-
just gonna die?
Yeah, and that Darth Vader's going to kill them one by one because they're using a lot of unused concepts that they had for the Clone Wars. We've already
Yeah.
seen like 2 or 3 this season that they would have used if they had kept going with Clone Wars, and they weren't era specific. We've seen Ming-Na Wen, Fennec Shand, who's going to be on the Boba Fett series on Bad Batch. We've seen her already.
Yeah.
They've done stuff with Captain Rex.
How many episodes through that are they?
They're about 8 or 9 episodes so far. Is that
Okay.
right?
I don't know.
I couldn't remember. I know it
Yeah.
premiered in May.
Definitely that 4 or 5. I'd say 7 maybe. Well, we
I know
can get-
it premiered in May. I just can't remember. Like
Yeah.
I said, this is the sad white boy in me. But as somebody who's watching High School Musical, I know they're kind of
Oh, no.
concurrent with each other. I just don't.
Bib Fortuna cameo. Very
Is it
exciting.
really?
Yeah. We get a cameo by the Rancor that's in Jabba's palace that Luke Skywalker murders. He was a bad man back then, guys.
So, has anybody here seen Jupiter's Ascending? It's worth asking. I know Nikki said you hadn't. Matt, no, I'm assuming.
Legacy, you mean?
Yeah, sure. They're both bad, apparently. Jupiter's Legacy.
There
You
you
know
go.
what? Has anybody ever seen Jupiter's Ascending? Because that's a weird ass topic. Like,
I
No.
saw so
Saw it in theaters opening night.
in a
oh, that
cell.
movie's bad.
Yeah, I saw that.
movie's bad.
What all came out that week?
Oh, that was February
Like 3
2015.
movies that weekend.
Devin
Was
had
that-
something interesting.
Devin, go ahead. Yes, Devin?
Oh, okay. It wasn't about this.
Oh, then say it. Who cares? We're kind of bullshitting for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it vaguely relates to Netflix, so fuck it.
Yeah.
So, I am in a Discord group of people who are interested in Transformers, and somebody posted a picture that showed a truck being hauled, and it looked a hell of a lot like the Optimus Prime from the Netflix Transformers series, at least the first season of it. So, either somebody got a very expensive custom made, or the studio is doing something. Whether that be Netflix or if that be whatever movie studios with the Transformers.
Hasbro's movies now. Yeah, it's just Hasbro slapped
Yeah.
on the movie studios. Pictures, films, entertainment, whatever yeah. Oh, okay, cool. So it's a truck that's the same design as a show we've already seen.
Yes, War for Cybertron Siege.
Okay, cool. Because I do know one of them was headed closer and closer to active development. I forget which one it is specifically out of all the ones they've announced. I just know it's the one that has the director of Creed 2 attached, and it's got Anthony Ramos, who was just in The Heights, attached as one of the actors.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
not
don't
the
remember-
Bumblebee sequel, is it?
I don't remember, because reports conflicted. Some reports said that one was the Bumblebee sequel, and then other reports were saying the Bumblebee sequel was a different film, and that this was another. There's we went over it one night actually, which is why he brings it up. There's 5 of these in development, and they're all at different stages. So it's
They're all in different times.
thankfully none of them are Michael Bay, but.
Speak for yourself.
So Matt, I found the weekend. So that weekend was an awful weekend. It was Jupiter Ascending,
Yep.
Seventh Son,
Oh,
SpongeBob, Sponge Out of Water,
Yep.
and then a few days later, it was the same weekend basically. Accidental Love came out, which is the David O. Russell film that was so bad David O. Russell took his name off of it.
Yeah. So I still remember that weekend perfectly.
Seventh Son and Jupiter Ascending. What a double feature.
That's why
got
everyone's
out of
confused.
That's why what?
college.
What Seventh Son? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Seven Sun, Jupiter Ascending. Everybody gets those two confused.
Who?
Yeah, they're both bad, so it doesn't really matter. Just
I saw those movies today.
I remember got out of class or whatever, went to the movie theater, saw Seventh Son first, then saw Jupiter Ascending, and then ended it off with SpongeBob.
That makes me
great
feel
weekend.
sad. Thinking about that
I
day
saw
makes me feel
everything.
sad.
SpongeBob was good. I liked that
SpongeBob
one.
was solid.
Yeah, I was surprised by how much I liked it.
Can I just say, as much as Jupiter Ascending is a waste of talent too, nobody's ever talked about how many good cast members were in this Seventh Son film.
I know.
Jeff
Yeah.
Bridges, Ben Barnes, Julianne
Kit
Moore,
Harington.
Alicia Vikander, Kit
Barnes.
Harington, Jaimon Hansu, and Jason
Jesus.
Scott Lee, the Asian actor.
How has Ben Barnes not been in a grade A Marvel movie? That guy is A-level talent.
Because he was in a B-grade Marvel show.
Yeah,
That doesn't matter. So is Mahershala.
Sure, true.
sure.
So give him a few years. Give him a few years.
So was Alfre Woodard.
Who was
Well, I
Alfred Woodard?
remember-
Oh yeah, Civil War.
I remember watching that movie though, And Kit Harington, he's in the opening, thing or whatever. And then I think Ben Barnes was after, and he was the lead in the movie. I was like, it really felt like Kit Harington should have been the lead of the movie, and then Ben Barnes they should have swapped roles in that movie
for the popularity at the time. Yeah,
for popularity, and then it just I don't think Ben Barnes was the greatest of actors at that point. He was a little below Kit Harington, and then he started to climb above Kit Harington.
It had been long enough since Caspian happened that he wasn't a name anymore.
Yeah.
It had been just long enough that he'd kind of...
It's like the Bob Pattinson thing, like I'm saying with the Maze Runner guy. Like I think he's going to, surpass that in a few years. Like, they grow out of it.
True.
I mean,
to be fair, I don't think Maze Runner is...
liked for the most part.
He's less popular, so he doesn't have as much downtime.
I think Maze Runner. I think the difference between Dylan O'Brien and Robert Pattinson, and to be fair, I think Dylan O'Brien has shown in the few things he's done that he does have the potential to become that type of actor if that's where he wants to go. Generally speaking, his franchise is way better than Robert Pattinson's franchise.
Right.
Plus, Robert Pattinson's franchise comes with an ex-girlfriend who fucked another dude. So, there's a whole list of reasons for him to want to forget that.
Whoa.
Look, you just never know with these actors, though. I was convinced that Liam McIntyre was going to be a big actor in Hollywood.
Who the hell is Liam McIntyre?
He's in Spartacus. He was the lead in Spartacus after.
Is he the first one or the second one?
The second one. He was the second one.
Cool.
But he's great in the third season. And then he got an audition for The Force Awakens. I was like, okay, this guy's good. I think he'll be fine. And then he was in The Legend of Hercules, and he never was in a big movie after that again. But he was great in that movie. He's Hercules' friend. He's the only good thing in that movie.
Oh yeah, he was better. He was better than Kellen Lutz. I'll say that.
He should have been Hercules in
The
that movie.
Legend of Hercules.
For that time.
For
that time.
You know what's sad?
For the time that movie came out, he should have played Hercules in that movie.
It's like you're trying to get him into a nightclub on a Saturday. He's like, hey man, you gotta let my friend in.
Yeah.
Remember a few years ago, The Legend of Hercules? This is Hercules' friend.
Well, and then he was in The Flash after he played the weather dude.
Weather Wizard.
Storm guy.
God,
Yeah, weather wizard.
No,
he was.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, he should have been Hercules in that movie. I don't know why they thought he should have been the friend, because Spartacus was out right around that time, and he was basically in shape to play Hercules. He was just, I guess, smaller height-wise.
I think it's because, as bad an actor as he is, Kellen Lutz had the Twilight franchise to his name.
True.
Yeah.
That is true.
And he's not a good actor, it should be said.
And he was related to Lutz on 30 Rock.
Right. No,
that's a reference.
Hey,
Jesus.
last thing I saw Liam McIntyre in was
It was
some
part of the show.
security guard movie with Antonio Banderas, I believe.
Antonio Banderas.
Security guard movie with Antonio Banderas?
Here, I'll give you the title. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
Aaron.
Yes.
Nasonex.
What's it called?
Nasonex.
Oh, he did voice in Gears of War.
All right, I'm going to move us on. This is going off. All right, Matt, while you're looking that up, I'll go ahead and move us on. All right, so.
Oh, he was in Jedi Fallen Order. There you go. So he was kind of in Star Wars. He was Aaron Malikos. The voice.
Wow.
Security. That's what the movie's called. Yes, Antonio Banderas, Ben Kingsley. It's called Security. It's not a great movie.
When did this come out?
2017.
Oh, okay.
It was one of those. I think it's on Yeah, I think it's on Netflix.
This is ridiculous. I'm right here.
Great, but it's not terrible.
Let's move on with the show.
That sounds like every project Bruce Willis has been in for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's
Bruce Willis and an actor. It's like with that one, it's Ben Kingsley who will just do anything nowadays. Like, he doesn't really care. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, how did that guy end up in a movie with him? Antonio. Because the one for me that killed me with Bruce Willis was it was one of those directed-TV movies, and it's Bruce Willis and Henry Cavill, and it's like, how long ago was this filmed? How did Henry Cavill end up in this shit? Like,
it was when he was on the computer.
Did he need to
He's
buy
also-
a vacation home?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
how he paid for his computer parts.
He's
What,
also in
Matt?
Justice Society World War II. He voices Aquaman.
Okay.
So yeah, check.
All
it out.
right.
Liam McIntyre.
Liam McIntyre, I wish you better with your career because, God, if I didn't know your name, yeah, you probably need help with your
He
career.
needs something. He's a legit good actor. He deserves better.
I believe you. I've heard Spartacus is great. Like I've never seen it, but I've
awesome.
heard great things.
It's super graphic, bloody, and nudity wise, but like
take
Lots
he's
of dicks.
fantastic in it.
Blood, what?
And
Blood,
it's-
dicks,
it's-
and dicks. Let's go.
Get past the first 4 episodes, I would say 4 or 5 episodes. Right after that, show's awesome.
First 4
Alright.
or 5 episodes, though, aren't there like twice as many dicks in those episodes, though?
Yeah. You see Manu Bennett. You see his schlong.
Yeah, you see Manu Bennett's dick. Talk about Deathstroke.
That's
Am I
how
right?
we got Deathstroke.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
fun
with
fact
that,
also.
League of
Fun
Assassins. Yeah,
fact.
you get a lot of Arrow
Uh,
actors on
You know
there.
who almost was
We're
Spartacus
in there as well.
instead of Liam McIntyre? Stephen Amell.
Yeah.
yeah, I believe that.
He was
I
almost.
could see
He was
that.
almost Spartacus. He was a runner-up.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on.
Schlong.
This is getting weird. Okay, so I'll go ahead and move on to the next set of stories that have been scrolling for the past few minutes. So, In the Heights was originally projected to open to $24 million at the box office on its opening weekend. However, the movie fell far from that total. The John Chu musical opened at number 2 to $11.5 million in what overall was a generally successful weekend, as in addition to this film, A Quiet Place Part 2, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway all grossed more than $10 million. Quiet Place took first place with 12, and the other 2 sequels came third and fourth respectively, making just over $10 million on their second and first weekends respectively. Many at first believed HBO Max to be the reason behind Heights' box office downfall, but according to sites that attempt to track streaming views as HBO does not make it public, all signs point to the fact that the film underperformed there as well. This is disappointing as the film is the first of many big musicals to come this year, although maybe the critical success of the film is enough to make some people at the studio happy. Gore porn director Rob Zombie is set to tackle a reboot of the 1960s monster series, The Munsters. It is unknown what tone the film will take, but Zombie has stated that this is a passion project that he's been trying to make for the last 20 years. All we know for now is that all we can do now is speculate what the hell that 60s cheese show will look like from the director of A House of a Thousand Corpses. No release date or cast has been added yet. The Hollywood Reporter released this week that comedians Jack Black and Ice Cube will be teaming up to lead a new Sony comedy titled Oh Hell No. In the film, Black and Cube will play long-term friends who become strained when Jack Black falls for Ice Cube's mother. The movie has a worthy comedic team behind it as well. Kitao Sakuri will take on the director's seat after his extensive work with comedian Eric Andre, including filming his specials, show, and recent film Bad Trip. The film also brings 4 writers from great comedic background: Scott Armstrong, who is known for Old School, Tracy Oliver, who wrote Girls Trip, Jessica Gao, who's a writer from Rick and Morty, and Rodney Rothman, who wrote for 22 Jump Street and Into the Spider-Verse. No release date has been set yet. Deadline reported that the Stephen King story Christine will be getting a new adaptation. Producer Jason Blum of the horror kingdom Blumhouse will produce the film, which will be written and directed by TV showrunner Brian Fuller. Fuller will make his feature film debut with the movie and is best known for his television work, including on multiple Star Trek series, Heroes, Hannibal, and American Gods. Nothing else is known about casting or production, but it is believed that the movie will stay a bit closer to the book than the previous John Carpenter adaptation did. And finally, for this set of stories, we want to honor the passing of actor Ned Beatty, who passed away, believe it or not, just hours after we finished last week's show. Beatty is a known character actor who worked for over 50 years and delivered many iconic performances, including but not limited to Superman, Deliverance, Toy Story 3, Rudy, and his Academy-nominated role in Network. Beatty had been retired from acting since 2013, spending time with family, and passed of natural causes Sunday morning surrounded by that family. He is survived by his wife Sandra Johnson and his 8 children. Our condolences from TMG go out to all of them. So I'll start with that one. Ned Beatty was never an actor who was the star of anything, but I mean, right there, I was able to name 5 films from 5 different decades, basically. for 50 plus years, he never stopped working, and he was always in a project that you would recognize. Like, I'm sure even just those 5 films there, you've seen at least one of, if not all of them. So yeah, obviously, you know, it's never sad to lose anybody, especially somebody who is a known, you know, if you enjoy film, a known entertainer and a great actor. All that can be said is he went peacefully, and they can say that it had nothing to do with a COVID or a disease or anything like that. It was just natural timing, I guess. So again, rest in peace to him, and condolences to his family. I don't know if anybody here had a special love for him in particular, but I felt he was worth bringing up just for the number of films that he had done. As somebody, I can say for sure, as somebody who was a kid when the movie came out, fuck that teddy bear from Toy Story 3. He did a great job, but fuck that teddy bear. But if nobody else, I just felt it was worth bringing up. If nobody else has anything to say on it, that we can move on to one of the other things.
When Toy Story 3 came out, that's depressing.
Technically, I was like 11, so. Hey man, we're different ages. What can I say? So I'll go ahead and go to you. Actually, I'll go to you, Nikki. Which of these stories stands out most to you?
Not many, to be honest. I mean, I think I would have seen In the Heights if it was actually in theaters. Like, that's one I'm more likely to see. That sort of movie in theaters than at home. Rob Zombie, Haverhill, Massachusetts native, used to live right around the corner from us. So always like to hear his name and things. But not really huge fan of his stuff particularly. It's not really geared towards me though. I mean, it's got kind of a niche fan base. But curious to see what he's got. He's got an interesting imagination. So we'll see. Devin, anything?
Wikipedia is already on past tense for Ned Beatty.
Yeah, people are very quick with that. It's weird how like somebody is sitting on the sidelines like, oh, somebody died, past tense, past tense, past tense.
It's weird what noise vocabulations happen when Devin opens his mouth.
All right, Matt, I'll go to you. Which of these interested you the most?
So Kurtwood Smith would not be in past tense from Wikipedia. Okay.
He should not be. No,
he should not.
He is in fact
okay.
a lie.
Maybe I edited it by, just by thinking that he actually did back in like 2017 or 18. Maybe I did it and somebody changed it. No, I mean, I had to go back 2 weeks, but we did talk about In the Heights, and I did say that it was going to have a Greatest Showman type of weekend to where it's 3-day weekend, wasn't going to be the greatest. I said 8.8 million for Greatest Showman is what it made. And it made a few million more. So that, I mean, I expected that. I think a lot of people were expecting that. I think if this movie was going to make a good chunk of money in theaters, it wouldn't be on HBO Max. Because like I said, anybody that wants to see this movie more than likely is just going to watch it at home.
Well, so I push back against that. I push back against that a little bit, only because obviously now the record belongs to A Quiet Place, but before that, the film that definitively set the box office record was Kong, and that was also on HBO Max.
There's a difference between Kong versus Godzilla and In the Heights. One is a movie that is made for the big screen, two monsters fighting each other, and another is a musical.
So I will say, I don't
watch
know.
Musicals at home.
I don't know if anybody else here has seen the film. I did go see it. I saw it in a theater just because I have access to theaters that are mostly dead. Oh, so you have seen it? Okay.
Yeah, I saw it opening day.
Yeah, same. I actually think it is a film that's worth seeing on the big screen. I think it's very grand. I think it's very cinematic in the way that they do things. It's very bright and colorful. I do think you're doing it a disservice if you're watching it like from your home television. Excused from the fact that if you are in an area where it's not safe at all to go to the theaters,
right.
Like I get it. I totally get that part of it. Watch it on HBO Max 100%. But if you are somebody who is comfortable going to the theaters and this did pique your interest, I think it's 100% worth it. I want to tell Chris Diaz to eat his heart out, but the movie was really, really good. I will say it might be my favorite film of this year. It's between that or
Jimmy Smith singing dance.
Jimmy Smith can sing, man. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he did that much singing.
Every time I saw that trailer, like I was looking forward to seeing that in the theaters because it's one that I would have like seen with the stubs. Because with that stubs, I always like to get my money's worth out of it. So like if I had 3 movies a week, I'd try to get to at least 2. So I'd give movies like
A shot.
chances to movies that I usually like wouldn't see, and that's one of them that I would have seen. And like every time I saw like Jimmy Smith singing in the theater, I'd be like, oh yeah, this looks like fun. Like I want to see this.
Your
I
back
feel
makes it hard?
Didn't care anymore.
Huh?
Is it your back makes it hard, or your theaters just aren't great there
No.
yet?
No, I just haven't gone. Nobody wants to go.
Devin, go see In the Heights with them. It's a good movie. You can
I think
sing.
it's a case of wrong place,
No.
wrong time for the movie.
You think what?
It's a case of wrong place, wrong time. I think for this particular movie right now, we're in that stage. I think people want to go see movies in the theaters, but they don't want to see that right now. I think they want the Godzilla versus Kong, the scary movies, the one where we're getting that spectacle. And I know it's a spectacle in a way, but I think it's a spectacle for maybe next year or earlier.
It's a spectacle for people who are into this type of thing. For everybody else, it's just a really, really well-made musical.
Once
Yeah.
Black Widow,
all
people will reactivate their Stubs accounts. Like that's just from where my household is at. And then we'll get back to the movies.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're still doing that Disney Plus premiere thing, which is gonna, affect its box office.
I don't think
not
people will
as
want to pay
much.
$30.
But you got families still. You got, a group of 4 or 5 people that, let's say, it's on
Potentially.
Disney Plus, $30. They know they can watch it again and again for $30. I could see a family of 4 or 5 doing it. This wasn't gonna do like, Captain Marvel, for lack of better words. It wasn't going to do money like that. Iron Man 3. It wasn't going to make $1 billion. It probably was going to make around what Doctor Strange made, maybe 5 to 600 million. I could see it now making in its total run like 400 to 300, maybe even less. Just because I do think there's, it's coming out in 2 weeks. COVID's still out there. I could see, especially in like the LA area, people staying at home and watching it if they have like a group of 5 people. Because at that point, it's like, well, especially in California, a lot of people are more reserved and not like, like people in Florida, Texas, or even Indiana, where it's like, oh, let's go out and let's just do things, whatever. They're not like that. So I think it's going to make less than what it was projected to make just because of the Disney Plus, premiere thing. And I will say, I think West Side Story is going to make more than In the Heights for sure. I think that one might surprise some people with how much it makes.
I mean, it's got Steven Spielberg attached to it already.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you got
especially
Spielberg,
around
it's a remake of a classic,
Because Christmas time, right?
and it comes out Christmas time.
Yes.
So it's going to make money.
Because even this past year with Wonder Woman had some good box office on Christmas at the theaters.
Right.
Even with things the way they were.
Right. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's just I wonder how the studio's feeling because this happens very few times, but the original projection was 24 million, and then after its opening day numbers, like halfway through Saturday, they readjusted the official prediction down nearly 10 million to 15 million, and it still didn't meet that. Now that's a hell of a disappointment.
I'm
I
looking
will
at
say,
I'm looking at Fast and
that's what I was
Furious
gonna say.
that will tell us what like the expectation moving forward will be.
yeah, because I think people want to go back.
I think we got the expectation with A Quiet Place. I think it's just, and I think we talked about this on that episode, and I think, Andy, you played into what we discussed previously, which I think is correct. It's just wrong place, wrong time. Like, because the box office is essentially starting from zero at this point, which is what, I think this was a show right before you came back, Nikki, but we were talking about how the box office kind of
peaked too soon.
Right. So we're talking about how the box office is kind of starting back from zero. So what we're seeing is a situation where every film that comes out, every type of film that comes out, you have to judge its box office independently, because I think it shows what the audience is craving for now more than ever. We've had 2 major horror films come out back to back, and both have succeeded by all intents and purposes. This movie underperformed. The action films have done varying ranges of decent. There's just been more of them to compare it to each other, and kids' films are tanking. Raya tanked. Spirit Untamed, if you don't know what it is, I wouldn't be shocked, because it tanked. Like,
I saw the poster.
I saw the movie. It was fine. So it's a DreamWorks kids film. It's what you'd kind of expect at that point. Nothing worse, nothing better. Surprisingly good cast. Like Jake Gyllenhaal, Andre Braugher from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Pretty sure Julianne Moore's in it. Like, surprisingly good cast.
All the money went to Gyllenhaal.
Even all the kids are somebody. Like the main girl was Dora the Explorer. And then her 2 friends, one of them's on Blackish, and the other was I don't know if anybody here saw Annabelle Comes Home, but she was the daughter in that film. So like, it's really weird, like how impressive that cast is. And who's the other one? Walton Goggins. That's the last one. He's the bad guy.
Walton Goggins. Open the tomb.
Yeah, so it's weird how impressive that cast is for such a mediocre film. But so I'll get into some of the other stuff here. Rob Zombie directing The Munsters is one of the weirdest fucking things I've ever heard.
It fits.
Like, I mean, sure, but what the fuck is it going to look like? Because The Munsters...
Probably going to look
so dark.
If you go look up clips of The Munsters, that shit makes the Addams Family look legit. Like, it is so cheesy.
Yeah.
So, like...
I guarantee you it's going to take place at a trailer park instead of like that big giant mansion. They're going to be at a trailer park.
Backyard.
Yeah.
It's going to take place in his own town.
In his own backyard.
I'm going to be...
His wife is going to
His wife will be one of them. His wife will definitely be one of them. We know that. So like I just
satanic storyline is going to be involved in it
because
apparently that's what happens lately with his stuff.
Because like my curiosity is like, is this going to be Rob Zombie trying to Eli Roth himself, where Eli Roth has been stepping out and trying to do other things, or is this going to be Rob Zombie takes The Munsters and turns it into a really freaky, gory horror film? I don't know.
Eli Roth himself is a completely different thing.
Say it again.
So,
Eli Roth and yourself is a completely different thing, and it is not advisable to do alone.
No. Probably not. No.
I will say, I was joking around about the trailer park thing and all that good stuff.
Rob
Zombie's a huge fan of the show, though, so I think he's actually going to really, it's going to feel more like the original show. I think maybe more modern, maybe a little darker, more serious, type of tone. But this, especially with him being a fan of it, I'm like, okay. Because originally, like you, I'm like, why are we doing this? Why is Rob Zombie doing this, movie or show or whatever? But with him being as big of a fan as he is, it gives me a little more faith. However, I haven't been a big fan of his stuff for like years. It's been years since I liked any of his movies.
And it's like I've said before many times, I'm not a big horror guy, and I've seen a few of Rob Zombie's films. It's not even the gore part of it. I just don't think he's that good a filmmaker. Like for as many films,
was pretty good, and
for as many films as he made, most of his films still feel like amateur film work. Like those Halloween films feel like a first-time filmmaker made them. And like he wasn't. He was far from a first-time filmmaker when he tackled that. So like that's not good. But I hope this works. Just the same as I hope like Borderlands with Eli Roth works out. Like if this is the directors who have been cornered into one thing for so long are attempting to go different and really make something new and unique, I'm all for it, man. Eli
Roth tried doing that kids movie last year too,
and I heard that was good.
I liked it. I
missed it. I want to see it.
There was too much else coming out that week, so I missed that one.
Yeah, it was one of those
surprisingly good. It's not great or anything. House
It
with
looked
the moving
there's
clock.
House with a
or
clock
whatever.
and its walls.
Oh,
House with a
yeah,
clock
that-
and its walls.
That's the movie.
Yeah, Jack Black. Was it Meryl Streep was
Jack-
with him?
No,
no,
no, no.
Kate Blanchett.
Kate
Kate
Blanchett,
Blanchett.
right?
Yeah,
Thank you. I knew it was somebody. I'm like, oh god, white, famous, Oscar nominated. Who is it?
that's like a lot of
yeah.
them.
White famous female.
There's a few of them
Uh,
that fall into that. Yeah, but
yeah, there's a few
Oh,
of
how
them.
little that narrows it down.
Cher. No.
Share, yeah, share.
Hey, she is Oscar winning.
Yeah,
True.
she is.
Can I just say, completely unrelated? The other night, I walked downstairs, and because my parents were my parents, they were watching Mamma Mia 2, and I completely forgot that
Nice.
Cher was cast to play Meryl Streep's mom, which is one of the dumbest
Yeah.
things I've ever heard. Because they're like the same
Right.
age.
That was for the ladies. That was
Everyone's
for the fans.
Though. That's almost as
Look.
dumb as what's her face? The Winona Ryder being cast to play Zachary Quinto's mother in Star Trek.
Oh,
Yeah, probably also
It
not
was
very
like
smart.
look,
Years certain age.
look. I don't know. Maybe it's because of my love of musicals. I think the Mamma Mia movies are like legitimately good movies. That second movie is, I think, is legitimately a good movie.
I've never seen either of them all the way through.
Yeah.
So
First one, the first
Really
one's
judging.
good. The second one, like the second
I
one's
heard-
a lot of fun.
I heard Pierce Brosnan's yelping, and I was just like, nope.
It's glorious.
That's what
You
I
gotta
hear.
watch it. Him
the
and
best-
Meryl Streep song together or whatever. It's great. But no,
Yeah,
they're legitimately good movies. Like they are. I mean, they're like
I'm sure.
watch it on a rainy day, you know, type of thing. Dude, I'm telling you,
Just start
I
singing
went
all
to
the
the
songs.
theater.
Have we
this is
covered all
when
the
I was
stories?
working there.
What was up, Nikki?
Huh?
I was asking, we covered all the stories for the night.
Almost.
Well, okay. So
I
I was gonna say, you're a Star Trek guy, so you may have seen some of what he's done. I have never seen a thing Brian Fuller's done because I don't watch television.
Yeah. He did
What are
some
your? Do you know what
early-
his Star Wars work is and Star Trek work is, and what do you think of it?
earlier Discovery.
Oh, Discovery. Okay.
Yeah, earlier though. Earlier Discovery.
think he
They've
wrote
kind
for
of
when he was younger.
what they did earlier on. And
Well, yeah, they've definitely
yeah,
gone away from it.
and it's gotten better since then. So that's
Okay.
the only thing you can really judge off of it. But yeah,
Sure.
never hated it when he did it.
Stephen King's a hot property right now, so
Yeah.
Christine being remade makes sense. If we're getting a fucking Firestarter remake, then
Then
Christine
let's
makes
leave it
sense.
to the Red Sox game.
I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting, honestly, for like one of the big ones. Like I know we got Doctor Sleep, but like I'm waiting for someone to attempt to remake The Shining. I really am. Like I feel like we're not. I feel like we're not too far off because
I
we've
don't
done.
know.
Jack
done-
in that movie.
We've done it. They just did. Josh
Yeah.
Boone did The Stand with CBS. We've
I-
done
We need
We
to
got
do
the Dark
we
Tower.
need a good evil dog.
The Dark Tower needs to be redone again. That movie was horrendous.
That's the stand.
No, redo the Dark Tower, but have it still keep Idris and McConaughey.
There, it's a
Sure,
stand.
you keep the kids. Like the performances weren't the problem with that film.
No,
All right.
I mean, I don't know if The Shining's going to be touched. Not right now. I think they're going to look for any Stephen King novel that they could adapt realistically
I think
into
they
a movie before they even try The Shining.
Right?
I
Cujo
know
would be.
Yeah, Cujo would be good.
Cujo, yeah. Pet Cemetery got remade,
Might as
You
well.
could
They just-
do Misery.
and that's getting a sequel.
Misery would be good.
Sucks.
Anybody else know that Pet Cemetery is getting a fucking sequel?
Yeah, that sucks.
What?
Wait, how do you get a sequel
What's the point?
for Pet
It's
Dude,
Cemetery?
fucking I know.
It's probably just a different family.
The original one had a sequel
Maybe.
too.
I don't understand the
I never
appeal.
knew that.
It's
Maybe
because it's
that's
just,
why
oh, we get to watch this family suffer multiple
Again,
tragedies in a single movie. Like, I don't want to see that. That just makes me sad.
didn't that kid get rammed by a truck? Like that's how he died.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand the
I think
appeal.
so, yeah.
It's depressing.
Oops.
Yikes!
What kind of
I never
sick-
saw
Sometimes
that
I
film.
get depressed.
I like Jason Clarke, but that movie looked mediocre as shit at best. So I was just like, nope.
Yeah,
I-
I didn't watch it.
John Connor in that bad Terminator movie.
Oh.
Well, the directors
but-
of Pet Cemetery, they did some other small indie horror film. I can't remember what it's called, but that was supposed to be really
Right.
good. So I was
I
like,
gotcha.
okay, this Pet Cemetery movie could be good, and then I heard it was not good, and I just skipped out on it.
Saw that movie and I wanted to be buried in a cemetery.
But no. While he's looking it up, the Mamma Mia 2, the experience I had watching Mamma Mia 2, I worked at a movie theater at this point, and we had every employee go see Mamma Mia 2. So just imagine any concert, just that type of like loud, just going crazy and stuff. It was like a rave when we were watching Mamma Mia 2. It was great. When Cher came out, we were like yelling like crazy. It was like
Sunny is back.
Great.
So the gentleman who did Pet Cemetery worked on the Scream TV series. They made a film called Starry Eyes.
No one liked it.
The Starry Eyes.
I heard Starry Eyes was supposed to be really good. That was like their thing that like really got them attention.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's demons and shit. Okay, I'm literally just reading through their Wikipedia plot, and I'm just like looking at the words that are highlighted in blue because they link to another page. And
Is
I
it
see
in past tense?
it. Well, technically yes, because the movie came out in 2014, so it is in past tense.
There you go.
We did complete it.
Well, no, Squirrely. No.
So
I was putting
this is how
movie away, and he fell.
This is how I'll pitch this film. All right, these are the different words that are highlighted in blue, like they link to something else. Fast food, rip her hair out, euphoria, pentagram, fellatio, maggots, and cults.
I mean,
What?
You pretty much got that right. It's a good movie. Check it out. It's good.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right. I didn't know if you'd like heard it was good or you'd seen it. I didn't, but cool.
No, I've seen it. It's good.
Okay. So I got it right. Fellatio, maggots, cult. That gets it right.
Yes. Now I didn't realize the squirrel has like a little nail thing right here. So like on my wall,
God.
I'm just gonna kind of hang it up like that. So he's kind of, I don't know, there. That way on the wall, it's kind of like that.
That is horrifying.
It's supposed to go on the tree. But yes, this is a little, tribute.
I'm gonna get the last thing done so I can move on. Because I actually do want to talk about this. Can I just say, as somebody who really, really enjoys comedy, this "Oh Hell No" thing sounds incredible. It could also go very wrong. Like I thought Charlie Day and Ice Cube would be a good combo, but I wasn't a huge fan of this fight.
Right. Man, I was.
But like Jack Black developing a crush on Ice Cube's mom, and like all the thing that gets me is
say hello to your mother for me.
That's what?
That's very believable.
I could see it. Jack Black seems like somebody who would like want to F.
No, they did that episode of The Office where like he falls in love with Cloris Leachman, where he's supposed to like marry somebody else.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Like that. Yeah.
And he also dated Jenna Fisher's mom at one point. Michael Scott did on The Office.
Yes.
He had a thing for old women.
Great.
He had a real thing for old women.
This was the fictional movie universe that took place inside of the show The Office.
Oh, the fake movie he made. Yeah. I remember that. I remember that.
Leachman, yeah. I'm all alone. I'm so lost without you. I have the weirdest fucking.
So, Matt, you saw Bad Trip, the Eric Andre film. I know you saw that, right? Because that was one of the ones you got the screening to.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of that? Because that's the director that's doing this film.
So I was legitimately surprised that I even liked the movie. It's not great or anything, but it's a lot of fun. I thought that movie was going to be terrible because, it's like, oh, we're going to, try to do our own Jackass thing. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. But no, it's a legitimately good movie that has, has heart in the movie. It's legitimately surprising. I mean, he's small enough. He's probably somewhere in it.
Okay.
But
no, they got slightly bigger Kevin Hart, Lil Rel.
Yeah, slightly bigger. But it's a legitimately fun movie. So yeah, I mean, I like the director because if you can make that movie good, I think you can do some good stuff in comedy.
And then the rest of these comedies that are listed here for like the work the others have done: Old School, Girls Trip. It's worth noting as well the writer that was credited with working on Rick and Morty. She's also the head writer for She-Hulk that's coming up soon on Marvel.
And you can play as Rick and Morty on Fortnite this month, guys. We're gonna head up now, if that's all right, Aaron. Thank you again.
Yeah, dude. If you're feel better, brother. Feel better.
I'm exhausted. I'm gonna pass out from the COVID side effects vaccine stuff, but that's fine.
Thank you for making it an hour 20.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
See you later, guys.
Later, boys.
See ya.
Later.
Bad Batch sucks.
Bye, Devin.
Kick him when he's down, man. Come on.
I was kind of expecting to hop out as I said it because I thought that would have been a fun little thing, but that didn't end up happening. So it was an epic fail.
So let's go ahead and get into it. We got a little bit of time left. We don't have to go the full 2 hours if you don't want to. But so this is an interesting topic that I think is worth getting into. So this interview came out a couple of weeks ago, but I figured it's one of those topics that's just generic enough that whenever we had a space, we could kind of fill it in and discuss it, because I think it's an interesting discussion that's worth having. So basically a few weeks ago, while doing an interview, because it's actually this gentleman who was an assistant editor on numerous films, and I'll get into it in the read. He recently just made his debut as the head editor of a film, and so he was being interviewed about that, and then they kind of started getting into his experiences working on other films, and that's when we get to this. So editor Kevin Hickerman is an assistant editor that has already worked on a number of huge films in his career, including Rogue One, Nightcrawler, and Captain Phillips, and has recently just made his debut as a head editor of filming. However, while being interviewed recently, he talked about his most grueling job of his career, working on David Ayer's Suicide Squad. So it was one of those like real long interviews, so I kind of read through and pulled out kind of the highlight points of it that I think are worth talking about, so we can kind of work through it a bit. So the first thing that I got here was he starts off by noting that from the footage that was shot, like when David Ayer was on set shooting, he said if you could put it into actual physical film, there could have been 1 million feet worth of film for how much they shot. When editing originally began, they were editing based on Ayer's original scripted version of the film. However, after a screening for Warner Brothers execs, off the heels of BVS's underperformance and the success of more lighter-hearted comedic films like Deadpool and their main competitor in the MCU, Warner Brothers ordered the editors to take it in a different direction, which included shortening the opening act of the film from 45 minutes down to 20 minutes. And they wanted it to, quote, pop more in the editing and use more of the freestyled comedic takes than what was originally written for the script. So I'm assuming a lot of that comes with like Will Smith and characters like that, where the actors are willing to kind of ad-lib. And so I guess they were doing what they do a lot of times on set. They were doing takes to the script and then takes to the ad-lib, where they were just having fun with it. And they were encouraged to use those because those ended up being more comedic. So that was kind of the first thing. And then I'll read this because it kind of lines up with this as well. He continued saying that with following Warner Brothers notes, they essentially had to restructure the entire opening of the film. In Ayer's vision, in which the first act was around 45 minutes, each character gets a proper multi-minute backstory that establishes the basic beats of the character and was done in a very linear fashion. With the mandate of taking 25 minutes off of that 45-minute intro, they were forced to reduce a lot of the intros down to quick shots and glimpses and had to do a lot of visual writing and character setup on screen, hence how we ended up with the writing on the screen with the bits of each character, which is what we saw in the final cut. They also had to take this approach through a lot of the film with quicker cut editing and using shots or physical things being written on screen in order to get some of the beats of the movie through with Warner's order on how to edit the film. Yeah, that makes sense. Like for what we got, yeah, I see that perfectly there. It's quick to a weird extent. The editing is very poppy. There's obviously a lot of the writing where they're trying to establish the characters as quickly as possible. The constant music cue switches, which I'm sure they were told to put in as well. This lines up perfectly with everything. What are your guys' kind of thoughts on hearing just somebody speak on it, at least to this point?
I mean, I'm not surprised. Warner Brothers is very, when it comes to DC anyway, they're very, I guess bipolar would be the best word to use, because they'll go, okay, we want to do this. Oh, now let's change it to this. Oh, now let's do this, instead of sticking to one plan. I understand they want to try to be successful with their movies like Marvel, but the thing is, you have to stay in your lane, keep your plan, don't move from your plan. That's why the MCU has been successful, because for one, the plan was a good plan, and two, they didn't change because somebody said, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, or The Dark Knight, beloved, okay, let's change every MCU movie now to, be that dark, serious thing. No, they kept the exact same, plan that they had from the get-go, and that's why it worked. DC, whether they wanted to stick with Snyder or they wanted to go a different direction and just do something else, at least keep your plan and stick to it. Don't change things up while you're even working on the movie. So, I mean, I totally believe that they completely screwed with, especially after, seeing the Snyder Cut. I fully believe they completely screwed with Suicide Squad, because that first trailer versus the second trailer was so different, where it's like, okay, the first one I was like, okay, this looks good. It's that dark tone, and I like this, other trailers too, but the tone should have stayed consistent from the get-go.
Yeah.
And that opening,
it felt like a music video.
Yes. Like I think the opening act, like that first act, was bad, but it was because it was like a music video and stuff. But based on how they described it, I think it sounded better. It would have made the movie better.
Certainly. I mean, ripping 25 minutes of footage out of anything, just base front being told, like, take what you have and shrink it by 25. I mean, that's gonna hurt a lot. Andy, go ahead. You were getting ready there.
It was also originally a rated R movie, was it not?
No, this was never rated.
I don't think it was. I think he wanted it to be, but I think they talked him to making it PG-13.
Yeah, Air wanted it R. I believe you're right. Air wanted it R, but that was one of the things, because when this was in pre-pro, it was like 2015. R-rated wasn't a thing yet, and so they were like adamantly, no, it's in our universe. Keep it PG-13. Don't go too crazy.
Yeah. What's funny is they could have been the first then, but then instead Marvel pulled the bullet on that one first and came out with Logan and changed up the game. So, it's another DC just missing that train by one movie every time. They're just always they catch on a little too late.
Yep. And now every other movie is rated R.
Yeah. It helps having, Marvel, they have someone who's cool comic collector. They have a shitty movie, cool, we'll fix it the next time. DC has one bad movie, they freak out like, well, we gotta start over. Just, like I said, stick with your plan.
So the next bit was, after talking for a bit, the interview moved on to asking about one of the things that was most heavily criticized in Suicide Squad, which was the performance of Jared Leto's Joker. Hickerman began speaking about it by praising Leto's work, saying that, which it's worth noting that he is one of the few people who would have seen every aspect of Leto's performance. He did, however, criticize Ayer's use of shooting the footage on set and his implementation of it into the film, even in Ayer's original cut. Before they were mandated to make changes, he found that they were often having to cut a lot of the Joker's stuff because it wasn't originally scripted, and it seemed like the more and more Ayer enjoyed the character, the more and more he shot and tried to add it, which made the film feel out of focus and uneasy. When Warner took control, they wanted it chopped down even further, which is what led to what we saw in the final cut, which is essentially a chop of what was already shot. He compared what he saw in Leto's performance to what we saw finally in Zack Snyder's Justice League, saying that as its own crazy little tangent, it was a good performance. But if everything that Leto had shot had ended up in the film like Ayer seemed to want, it wouldn't have aided the film at all, because his story in it did not serve any purpose. This, to me, stood out as the most important quote, because we'll get to they ask about the release to air cut stuff, and we'll get to that in a minute. And I like that as an editor who sees everything in a film and is literally the person piecing it together, he has brutal honesty, which is something I respect.
Mm-hmm.
He's praised a lot of his work on the film, but and I like this. He said, no, listen, there's no way that Leto's performance ever could have truly worked in this because a lot of it wasn't natural. It was a case of a seemingly like Ayer liked what he got from Leto, so they just kept shooting and shooting and shooting and adding more and more of him to the film in a way that took away from the film and started to make it not make sense. And so a lot of it was going to have to go anyways. And then with Warner coming in and wanting a more streamlined, brighter film, there goes even more of the performance. Yeah, and it makes me wonder, and obviously we'll get to the air cut thing in a little bit. It makes me wonder if we ever did see like what we got with Zack Snyder's Justice League, like the full, unrelenting, untouched, this is what your original fucking 4-hour vision was. At least with Snyder's, like as much as I have criticisms of it, and I don't think they should have released a 4-hour cut, I still think they should have made edits to it. But for what it is, at least it's still a good watchable film. Would Ayers have even been that with what, like, especially this Joker stuff, with how much he kept showing up when he didn't need to? And a lot of what we saw was flashbacks. Like, he's not even really in the active story. We just saw a lot of flashbacks and cutaways. And how much more of that would there have been? It makes me really interested. But not
I think he only has two actual scenes within the story, I think, in the beginning, and then when he shows up randomly at the very end.
Yeah,
right.
Which is one of the weirdest endings in a film ever, that like he would just show up and break her out. Like such a weird movie. But Matt, I could see you already getting ready while I was speaking. So what are your thoughts on all that?
I'm sorry, it's the game. 6 seconds left.
6 seconds? All right, we can wait 6 seconds.
Milwaukee. I mean, they're in a huddle right now. Milwaukee up to 6 seconds left. Winner of this game goes on to the Eastern Conference Finals. But it's gonna
that
be
versus
second.
the Knicks.
So no, they're playing the Nets.
The Nets. That's the other one. Yeah.
The Nets. But with the Joker stuff, I don't think Jared Leto's Joker, even if they would have included everything, I don't think it's good. I mean, I remember even when the Snyder Cut, was released, and I enjoyed the Snyder Cut very much. We had Jared Leto's Joker in the end. Spoilers for a movie that was supposed to release 4 years ago. But he had Jared Leto at the end as the Joker, and I remember seeing everybody go, "Oh my God, this is like people literally said, this is the greatest Batman and Joker scene ever." And I was like, "What are you talking about? He is not good in that as the Joker. He's still not a good Joker." So even if everything was in there, I don't think he would have been good at all. It would have hurt the movie. Even though I do think Warner Brothers messed with the movie, I don't want it to come out. I don't want to see an air cut because I don't think it's going to be a good movie regardless. I think the opening sounds like it could be good, but everything else, by the sounds of it, isn't great. Here we go.
6 seconds.
What they should do is just come out with the 4K of it, and then have a special feature where maybe you have those scenes as like a deleted scene.
Oh my fucking God.
Did they stop the game again? What are you?
Oh.
Tie game.
Shit.
Fucking Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant with there's 1 second left. Okay. Maybe Giannis Antetokounmpo or whatever his fucking last name is. Maybe he hits a shot to win the game. Kevin Durant has one guy on me. He has to spin around in a circle, just throws it up. I don't even know. It looked like it could have been a 3. They're reviewing it right now. It's just swish. Perfect. I swear, if this is a fucking... Yeah, Adam Schefter, what a... yeah, his foot's on the line. It's a 2. By a hair. It's still tied, but by a hair. His foot
Matt's like, I need my money, bro. How much money you put on this game? Be real.
So I've been winning a lot of money. And I've won upwards of, I think, $2,000 something dollars build up. I put $1,500 on this game.
Jesus.
The payout. I still have $500. I can bring in. This game is either I win or it's going to go to overtime and I have to wait a little more to see if I win. If I win, because everybody hit everything, $15,000. The Bucks have to win. If they lose, it doesn't matter at all. Sorry, you don't get that $1,500 you wagered down. It's gone. I was going to buy a Tesla with this. I was going to buy a Tesla.
Jesus.
There's 1 second left.
If you watch through this show, you can see Matt's gambling addiction progress.
I swear to God. Look, it's not my fault. I win most of the time. I've lost a few, but I win majority of the time. There's a reason why I've built up to $2,000 something.
All right,
it was like 2,200, whatever.
I'm gonna keep reading while you watch that. All right, here we go. So the next piece of this interview, so they get into Release the Ayer Cut. So when asked about his thoughts on the hashtag Release the Ayer Cut movement, Hickerman says that while he doesn't believe that it would ever happen due to DC seeming to want to move forwards, not backwards, he does say that he wishes he could have delivered something closer to Ayer's original script, even if he didn't fully think the original vision would work. He compared the Suicide Squad portions of the film and their interactions to Black Hawk Down, in that it was more of a war film while still containing some semblance of levity. He said characters like Deadshot and Boomerang, with actors who could play around with dialogue a bit more, always had a lighter-hearted content, while other characters in the final cut that had funny lines were edited in post to be delivered in a funny way. How'd it go?
It's overtime. Kevin Durant ties the game. It's good. It didn't have to be in regular time. I could still win $15,000.
How long's overtime?
It's like 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right. So take a break, take a breather, come back, and then...
That was great defense by Kevin Durant.
All right.
Again.
So...
He's like, you see that $1,500 right there? You see that $1,500? Nope.
I'll read the last part of this as well. We'll get this over with. He also believes that Gunn's film is truly the nail in the coffin to any Release the Snyder Cut or Release the Ayer Cut movement, but he says that he is excited to see James Gunn's vision. He said, well, obviously it's very different from the version of Suicide Squad that he worked on. He feels that it is much closer to what Warner Brothers wanted him to make out of Ayer's footage. And he feels that if the film had been handled with this type of tone from the start, he could have gotten a better film out of it, and he hopes that Gunn's film succeeds in that way. I like the Black Hawk Down comparison. That's an interesting comparison I'd never thought of, where it's like this ensemble of people who are just stuck on this shit mission, and it's a lot of character interaction and stuff like that. I do like that comparison. But again, I like the realism of it, of like, honestly, based off what he said, and I read the full thing that goes into a little more detail on it that I couldn't include. Based on everything that he said, I think he hit the nail on the coffin. Gunn's film feels like what Warner's wanted Ayer's version to be. They just didn't realize it until after the film was shot and then tried to turn it into that film. And David Ayer's just not that kind of filmmaker. Like, all of his films, good or bad, are very serious films, you know, and he's got great films and he's got not so good films. So, you know, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's all got that same type of very serious tone, with just, if you happen to have somebody who can deliver levity, you'll get that a little bit. I think the best example is End of Watch. There's no part of that film that is funny truly at all, but Michael Pena has the odd line here or there that delivers some piece of levity to it, because that's just who Michael Pena is. He's a comedian at heart. So I think that's just the capper on it. Like, I think what we're getting in August is what DC has always wanted. They just had to fuck around a little bit to get there.
Yeah.
Kind of, what are your guys' final thoughts on hearing this discussion? Matt, I know your mind's elsewhere, but what are your kind of final thoughts on just hearing all of this come from the horse's mouth? You know, the person who really got to see it happen.
I mean, I think it could have been a good story. You know, could have been fun. But still would have been trash, more than likely.
Yeah, I think the difference between this and the Zack Snyder one is there wasn't really much publicity behind the backstage stuff of what was going on in Suicide Squad. I mean, David Ayer, it was the same director the whole time. the studio. It's their movie when it comes down to it, so you got to do what they want. Whereas opposed to, the Zack Snyder thing, that was a whole nother thing, and it had that traction of the fans. And I mean, are there really fans that want the Ayer cut?
I mean, the Snyder nuts want it just for the sake of being right, but
Yeah. But I mean, you had even the stars of that movie, like, hey, release the Snyder cut. I don't know if I've ever seen Will Smith like release the Ayer cut. I really need it in my life.
Will Smith's forgotten he made a DC film, honestly. He's too busy dancing around with all that genie money.
Yeah.
He probably got very nice back end off that film. Because I don't think they expected that to make $1 billion at all.
That's getting a sequel too, isn't it?
Supposedly.
Yeah.
All right, Matt's having a very bad time up there.
They can't hit a fucking shot.
Are they losing or are they still tied?
They're down 2. They're missing everything.
They can do it. They can do it.
I hope so.
Believe in them. Believe in them.
Get the rebound, you giant. I don't want to cuss. Well, I've cussed on here. What are you? Okay, that's not it on now.
It's your show. So, realistically, it's your channel. So,
okay. Well, we're not going to get monetized for a while, more than likely, unless we just gain subscribers like crazy.
Just a bunch
a foul.
It's a bunch of people who betted on this game watching this right now. All right, so what I'll do is to kind of kill the last bit of time. I had a few more stories here. I'll just kind of pull out the most interesting ones, I think, and we can talk about those. Just kind of briefly, just kind of jump through a few stories to kill a little bit more time. So the first one is it's highly believed that the title to The Matrix 4 got leaked this week. So it was revealed that the first private screenings happened to the film in an attempt to get some sort of idea of what people thought about it. And through an accidental tweet, like a reporting tweet that came out of the film that was later taken down, the film in that tweet was listed as The Matrix Resurrections and not The Matrix 4, which would indicate that if this person was in fact in a screening and did actually fuck up and leak the title, that the title would be Matrix Resurrections. Said nobody surprised everywhere, because that makes the most sense, right?
Yeah.
It keeps with the R motif. It's better than The Matrix Rebooted. I would have said The Matrix Reloaded is actually a good title, but they already used that. So Matt's just in a trance. It's just me and you, Andy. Matt's in a trance.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, honest.
I just want to see some footage from this movie already. That's all I want.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. It's Matt, do you want to go off screen for a few minutes while you watch this?
I'm gonna listen to you guys. I'll look.
All right.
Or a trailer at least. I feel like we have to, because that's coming out in December?
Yes.
So we should be getting a trailer here soon, hopefully.
Yeah, unless
Maybe
they have
July.
some sort of internal fear that makes them think they may jump it again. They may hold off a bit longer. July is not a bad shout. I'm trying to think of when Warner has another, because Reminiscence, I think, comes out at some point, but that won't be a huge film. Malignant is James Wan's new film, but I don't think that'll be a huge film if that comes out during the summer. Is their next blockbuster Suicide Squad?
I guess so. August. Wow.
Yeah.
Old's not their film. Old isn't made by them.
Well, it's going to be a big movie.
Potentially, if it's good. That's the question. Shyamalan.
You never know anymore.
Fate of the Future.
Just when we thought
I think they said if you see Fast 9, you're going to get the first Jurassic Park trailer.
Jurassic.
Right now.
So it's not a they said this. It's not a trailer. It's just 5 minutes of footage, whatever the hell that means.
So an extended.
I don't know if it's a scene or. Yeah, but I guess
an opening thing with.
I don't think it'll be formatted by a trailer. I think it's just some voiceover and a bunch of pretty looking IMAX shots, and then Jurassic World Dominion, June 10th.
Chris Pratt needs it, because I saw the trailer for that new movie of his, and that looks pretty terrible.
Yeah, if we were going to get a trailer for Fast month 9 or whatever, we probably would have gotten an announcement for like it just to be released on like a Wednesday.
True.
But I think it's just a scene they're doing.
I think that what's it? I think they may save it till Suicide Squad. I think they'll want to launch the Matrix trailer on a Warner blockbuster, and I can't think of a blockbuster they have the rest of this summer except for Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
Right. Is John Wick still coming out this year?
John Wick is not theirs either.
No, I'm saying, is that coming out this year too?
No, next year.
Next year.
Why?
They added it. That cast keeps getting better too.
Yeah, they just acted. Find his name. That was another story I had here. Where
it was Donnie Yen and that guy from the Raid movies.
Yeah, so that was last week. We talked about that. They added a bunch of actors, including Donnie Yen and Bill Skarsgård. And now this week they've added Hiroyuki Sanada, who's already been in 2 hit films released in America this year. He was in Army of the Dead, and he was Scorpion in Mortal Kombat.
That's right.
So he also can do, and I believe he's been in some Asian martial arts films as well. So he's another man who can hold himself if he needs to. Yeah, I love, what else was he in? I got his credits here. He was in The Last Samurai. He was in Rush Hour 3. He was in The Wolverine. He was in Avengers Endgame. And he's also a part of, actually, funny enough, a connection here. The other original John Wick director, David Leitch, he's on his upcoming film, Bullet Train. So, yeah, he is building himself a fair English filmography after being a very big actor in Asia for a number of years.
Yeah. Well, they were supposed to come out the same day, John Wick and Matrix, but obviously
Keanu Day.
I wish they would have moved Matrix and kept John Wick where it was.
Well, they both moved. Keanu Day was supposed to be this year.
Well, I mean, it should be out. Well, is it Matrix December this year?
Yeah. It is.
It was supposed to be. It was supposed to be May of this year. Both got moved.
Oh, I misheard. I thought you said they were moved to next year. That's why I was like, well,
yeah. So both were supposed to come out May of this year, and then the pandemic happened, and that's when they both got moved. John Wick got pushed further because they actually hadn't gotten to shoot yet before the pandemic happened.
Damn it! I wish they would have shot John Wick first. I just want.
They are shooting it right now, I believe.
I know. I wanted it more. I wanted more.
Oh, I agree with you. Yeah, May 27th. Definitely. May 27th. So little under a year. But at least they're shooting. From what I've heard, they're shooting 4 and 5 together. So 5 shouldn't be too long. Yeah, they greenlit it for 2 after the 3rd one. It did that well.
Good.
Hopefully, that movie made bonkers money.
As long as they're good or keep getting better, just make them. Never stop.
Yeah.
Just keep doing it. Have another dog get involved.
I wonder if 5 will be the last, though, because Chad Stahelski finally attached himself to another project. So I wonder if you make 5 films with the same director, I wonder if you should switch.
I don't know. Do the other director.
Get David Leitch back?
Get Leitch back.
Hey, fuck it. I like what he's done so far, too. He's done a different kind of weird action, man. I love that both of these guys have become the action guys. Honestly, fuck it. I'll take the dude who made Nobody. And Hardcore Henry. I'll take that guy. Did they win?
I'll take it too. No, it's tied now. They just tied it up.
There you go.
Giannis Antelope Kupo made a shot. Nice block by Lopez.
Yeah, what's his name? Isla Neishler, I believe is the gentleman's name. But he made Hardcore Henry and he made Nobody that came out this year. I'll just take the 3 of them making action films for the next few years. I'll take it.
Yeah,
isn't Nobody supposed to be in the John Wick universe too?
It's not, but it has a lot of the same people. So it's not set in the same world, but it's a very similar concept. It's written by a Derek. Oh my God, why can't I remember his name? I said it for like 6 weeks in a row. Jesus, what is this guy's name? Derek Kolstad. Kolstad, who wrote all the John Wick films, and it's produced by David Leitch. So the only new addition is the director, who also did an insane action film previously, which is why he got brought in.
Okay.
And actually, I
Okay.
believe the reason he hadn't had an action film in a number of years is because he was working with this film. Like, secretly, him and Odenkirk have been working together for a few years to, like, get Odenkirk fit for this and, like, put him through training and stuff like that. So they put a lot of effort in, and it does show. It's like a surprisingly more brutal version of John Wick. Like, I actually think it's more brutal than Wick, which is kind of insane to think, but yeah. I mean, they don't do... It's not as creative. Like, I love John Wick 3 because they got really creative. I mean, spanking a horse to kill is one of the most impressive things I've ever... It's like, how do you conceive that? Like, so it doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it's just really fun. And, like, Odenkirk is surprisingly believable. Like, for what they give him, you buy into him being a murderous rampage. They also create the weirdest family dynamic ever. Like, not his wife and kids, but, like, they set up in this film that Bob Odenkirk's dad is Christopher Lloyd, and his brother is RZA.
I love it. I love it so much. He's so good in that movie.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd steals every scene that he is in. He is incredible.
He's awesome.
So Matrix Resurrections, that tells you how much it's such a predictable thing. Like, we talked about it, but it makes sense. What else is here?
I didn't know that was coming out this Tuesday. Nobody on Blu-ray.
Yes.
I'm gonna buy that.
Okay, so here's another one. So
my god, here we go.
Here's another one that'll be quick. So The Marvels, which is the upcoming Marvel film with the Marvel family,
Captain
Marvel,
Marvel,
has added its first male cast member. Previously, it was announced that the 3 members of the Marvel comic family will all be reprising their roles, alongside the previously announced Zaw Ashton, who will play an unknown villain. Now, actor Park Seo-joon, I apologize if I mispronounced that, has joined the cast. Park is best known to Americans for his role in the film Parasite as the character Min Hook, who is the friend of lead son Ki-woo. However, in South Korea, he is a very big actor, and he will be making his English language film debut.
But Kevin Durant, no fucking good. You suck. Go home, Brooklyn. You're done. Game over.
Did they win?
The Bucks beat the Nets. Yep.
All right. Do you want a few moments alone, Matt? Do you want a few moments alone?
I'm listening.
All right.
There's 0.3. There's 0.3 seconds left. I need a final done over.
That squirrel's about to get literally fucked if they win.
I'll tell you what. See right here? That's
no, put it away.
That's removable.
Is it a piggy bank or something? What the fuck?
It's supposed to be a garden thing.
Oh, okay. All right. But yeah. Has anyone here seen? I feel bad. We're disrespecting this guy. I haven't seen Parasite yet. It's one of the few Oscar movies from the last few years that I actually missed. It's on my Hulu queue. I just haven't gotten around to it. But I know I will. But good for him for making his English film debut. I'm sure that that's a big transition. And they even mentioned in the article, like, he will have to get work permits and fly to America in order to film. So that's a huge deal for him. So congratulations to getting that.
It's over.
I remember hearing his name.
Daddy's buying a Tesla.
Can Daddy give me a paycheck, please?
Oh no.
Okay,
No.
fair enough.
My cameras are gonna be lit for this channel now.
All right. Okay, here's a dumb one to end on, and then we can get the fuck out of here. Disney Plus announced a prequel series to the 2017 hit film Beauty and the Beast has been greenlit and already moving towards production. Luke Evans and Josh Gad have been contracted to return as Gaston and LeFou, the leads of the prequel. They will be joined by actress Brianna Middleton, who will portray LeFou's stepsister, Tilly. The series will be a 6-episode miniseries and is described as, quote, a musical event series. The 2017 film, which remade and expanded on the original 1991 Best Picture nominee, was a box office hit but received mixed reviews, so it remains to be seen how much fans will be looking forward to this. It is yet to receive a release date, but they are planning to begin filming before the end of the year. For what it's worth, I think the Beauty and the Beast remake is fine. It's one of the ones that I can stand. I've seen it more than once. I do think it holds up. I thought the musical additions worked way better than in Aladdin. Like the songs they added, it made sense. They felt right. Matt is so fucking happy. He doesn't care.
I'm customizing my new Tesla right now.
Can you get a Tesla for under 15 grand?
I can put a lease on it, pay $1,000 a month on it.
Jesus. All right.
Customize my payment.
Andy, what do you think about Beauty and the Beast getting a prequel?
Yeah, that's one of the. I think it's the one live action remake I have not seen. So.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. You know
I don't
what?
know.
We're done.
Yeah.
This has been one of the most, despite the fact that I have attempted to be an actual producer. This is
0.3 seconds left. What the fuck?
What happened?
They literally added 0.3 seconds.
Uh-oh.
What the fuck?
All right, I want to end this before Matt's heart goes out. God, this has been a train wreck of a show. God bless you if you watch all the way through. Andy, we'll be happy to have you back in the future, man. Maybe it'll be a bit more stable. Where can the good people find you?
You can find me on Facebook and all the groups. I'm on Twitter at AndySweet84, and yeah.
All right, and I'm not going to make Matt plug himself. You can find. He might do it for fun if they win, but what? You okay?
Oh no.
Here. So, you guys know it's. You guys know what same game parlay is, right? You put multiple parlays, you put multiple bets on, and same thing. It's a parlay, same game. It was supposed to have a certain amount of rebounds. They took a rebound away from one, so I did not win $15,000.
You won nothing?
I won nothing.
Oh.
Congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks and going to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's cool, huh?
And that's why you only bet on the games, ladies and gentlemen.
I still have $500 I can cash out. That's cool. I'll continue to bet like I normally do. Odds are I'll build that back up.
Daddy will get his Tesla down the road.
Daddy will have to wait another year.
All right. Well, as
you can
Matt
find me on
goes
Inside the Horseshoe podcast. It's up there.
I got you. I'll plug you, man. As Matt goes and dies in a corner, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, rate the show, comment, interact. We love doing it. If we see your comment, we try and respond back as much as possible, whether it's me or Matt on it. Be sure to check out all of the shows that we have tomorrow at noon EST. The Supernova show goes up. They will be discussing real time. We discuss it every few weeks, but they will be discussing real time Loki. So episodes 1 and 2 are being covered on their show, as well as the latest episodes of The Bad Batch. So if you want some discussion about all of that we are not having here, be sure to check that out. They also discuss other geeky content. On Mondays at 7 p.m. EST, Schmo Talks goes up this week, and I have an interview with somebody who, if you are a part of the fan leagues, he is considered a fan league legend. If you are not, he is one of the writers of the Schmodown, working with PJ Campbell's team, Jeremy Adams. That interview goes up this week at 7 p.m. Jeremy's an old friend of mine, so it was just a hell of a fun time to get to talk to him again. What else do we have? That is turning into Bill Gates. All right.
Yeah.
On Tuesdays, Cancel This Show goes up. You can find Matt hopefully feeling slightly better on Tuesday, talking with Alan Shepard about all the. I'm pretty sure it's pre-recorded before this. So talking about all the latest in the world of politics. God forbid if that's your interest. Be sure to check it out. It's a different picture. Okay.
Yeah, I figured his head would fit in.
And as Matt said, check out his Inside the Horseshoe channel. If you are a sports fan and slightly less sad than he is, there's some great content over there. So check it out. And I have an announcement in relation to Movie Battleground, which was announced a few weeks ago. If you follow our Facebook channel, the show that launched this channel is being relaunched by myself. I will be kind of producing it and working on it. We are in the process of beginning to film our first matches. I have not announced any dates in terms of airing. That will all be set publicly once we have some footage in the bag and I can feel confident in setting a real schedule. But I can say that obviously if you guys follow the page, the whole roster was already announced, and I've already spoken with all the competitors. We're in the process of getting them caught up on all the rules and regulations of the game because there will be some variations. Everything they're seeing now is stuff that you guys will see publicly later that will be uploaded for closer to the start of the show. But I can say with excitement that we are preparing to record our first matches, and it is a very exciting endeavor. On behalf of myself, Mr. Beer, Mr. Andy Sweet, Nikki, and Devin, the Mandalorians, as they so call themselves, my name is Aaron Knoll. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and checking this one out, and we will see you guys next time. Take care.